like the previous video for this series, I'm going to actually draw as I talk. But before we get into the video, viewer discretion advised. I will be going over some mature themes. This will be more so be gone over in the next video, which is the anniversary video. But I will be going into some of the topics because of the nature of the series. So, viewer discretion advised. If you were triggered by any of the following topics, please click away now. This is not for you. The following topics are as follows: domestic abuse, generalized child abuse, and all abuse of power, SA. As I mentioned in the first video, I'm just going to refer to it as SA. Um, genocide, attempted genocide, murder, basically violence in general, homophobia, why am I spacing harder than last time? I do not know. And expect swearing because this is a mature series about cats. Well, at least I like to imagine cats like to swear at us with all their judgment. A quick recap. Actually, let me bring up the image. It's gonna take me a hot minute to find it. Would it be in here? No. Things I should have thought of before I brought it up. I should have it somewhere. It should be under concept, actually. I don't think you guys can see this folder. I'm sorry. Give me one sec. Here's my beautiful moon cycle thing that I need to upgrade. Mainly because these moons right here, which are right here because the same thing flipped, they're looking a tad rough, so I probably need to update that at some point. But here's the moon cycle. I actually, fun fact, did make some lore pages, which went over some of the basic stuff. But 18-month year, which is the 504 days a year with 28 days per month. The months start and end on the new moon. I realized at some point after I finished making this, I probably should have made it so it was the full moon that it ended on, but I'm not gonna deal with the fact that that's already a thing. So, with that said, spring is 3 months, summer, fall, and winter are all 5 months. My other option was legit to make it 3 months of spring, 4 months of summer, 5 months of fall, and 6 months of winter. I didn't want to do that. If you're wondering why spring is so short, I'm actually from New England, and we get a shorter spring because winter bleeds into mud season, and mud season turns somehow into spring, and next thing you know, it's summer. That's how it goes here. So kittens. Actually, let me go to the reference sheet page. If I go to here, turn off whichever cat I'm on. I was working on reference sheets, I swear. Let me go down here. Are these off? Yeah, these are off. I have some of the old reference sheets in here. Where? I did have a thing for kittens. I did decide to remove it. But kittens and will always have the same eye color, the exception is albino. I don't have leucism or melism because I generalize just do cats the same way. AK, technically speaking, if I ignore the Sky Factory, let me go over here. If you look at this character Frost, technically speaking, looking at him, he probably actually has leucism. I just don't acknowledge the fact because he's white with blue eyes and he's pale, pink. Technically speaking, his ears probably should be pink as well or pale as well. Um, but that's its own thing. I go back here. I should have been more prepared for this, but I was working on multiple things before I decided to jump back over here. Let me open. Actually, I don't even know what file that is anymore. I still need to finish the comic cover. Need to add the blood from here in the background. I did finish the series cover, which you'll see the speed point of in the anniversary video. I might tweak it some more. I'm not fully convinced on these quote-unquote mountainous. Yeah, but the meteorite's great. But to go over the species. Kittens. Just gonna do it this way. I say this, and then I realize I probably should actually grab the old template real quick. Give me another extra second to open up another file. One second draft template. I'm gonna use this one because this shows the different templates. Oh my god, I left it off on Duke. That's beautiful. Duke here is gonna get a redesign at some point soon because of this cover. Originally I thought I could get away with it, but no. But as you see, they start off as a newborn. And at 4 months old, they become weaned and they become a youngster. But after they become 4 months old, because that's when they start becoming a youngster, that's when their actual eye color comes in. What I have decided is kittens that are 1 moon up to 1 moon old, they're very much baby. Sure, after a week or I think it's about a week I have it in my series to open their eyes and they can hear. They're still wobbly, they're not great on their toes or bleh, great on their feet or anything. So they're just all wobbly and very much baby. They can't really speak in sentences, they just mew. Varying degrees of judgmental mews. At 2 months old, they can use basic words like mama, papa, hungry. 3 months old, they start to be able to do simple sentences. 4 months old, they're starting to be better at complex sentences. They just don't understand everything because they're still growing and their brain is still expanding. But this is when they're just like, "Hi, I'm like 5. I can speak. I can speak words and do do sentences that make sense to varying levels of degree. Maybe babble on occasion on the younger side, but by the time they're 5 moons old, they're pretty steady. Like they're still gonna have that kitten wobble a little bit in length, and they're not fully grown into themselves. Their paws are growing faster than their legs. they're a bit too big for their paws. And I'm gonna say this, paws usually tell how big a cat will be. Not that I draw cats with different paws because I use templates to make my life easier. Um, and at 6 months old, that's when cats hit sexual maturity, but should not actually start breeding. Anyone who starts breeding younger is even higher risk of ending up dead if they with that, because I'm referring to Mollies here. I know Duke here's not a Molly, he's a Tom. Um, but Mollies, technically speaking, can have heat as early as 4 months, but that usually means there's already been sexual abuse, or it's really a really bad quirk in their bloodline, and no one should acknowledge that heat at all. If it's a black cow heat, you better just hope that no one's nearby, because that could legit result in the cat's death. It's really not recommended until the 7th or 8th moon. Cats usually lean on the 8th moon of age as when you can start acknowledging a cat's heat if you want to try for kittens. Because that's usually when the least complications at under a year old start developing. The least complications in birth will start at 8 months old if the cat gets pregnant around then. Because by then they'll be 12 months old, which isn't a full year old, but in the on the planet Rhazie, but that's beside the point. Another thing that could cause issues is if the cat's repeatedly um getting bred and having kittens. Some mollies can handle it back to back and some cannot. There are mollies in the series. I forget which character is named. Don't think I do. I have a reference sheet for her? I think I do. Give me a second. Bear with me. If I go up here, I know her reference sheet's not up to date. But I know I made it. Quill. This is one of the characters. She's technically speaking mute. Um, she's the second. Not second. She's not the second character to be developed mute. She's like the fifth. But in the third draft, she's the first mute character we get to meet. I think. Wait, no, it's a lie. We meet Alfred first. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about where Valley falls into things, and she's technically speaking a bit older than Alfred, I think. So yeah, but she is plagued with blackout heats, and when she usually has a heat that's not a blackout heat, it's a really strong heat. Basically, how I have things go is blackout heats are brief, and whichever cat that is unrelated and the opposite sex, aka Tom, will immediately want to mount the molly. And they'll just do it without thinking about it until after the heat has faded. And that causes a whole bit of drama there. Strong heats are short. They can last a few hours up to a day. Um, it just leaves a strong urge to me, but it doesn't make the molly just be driven to have it to go through having sex and shit. Um, and then there's normal heats, which is lasts about 3 days. It's there. Molly's very well aware of it. Cats can tell she's in heat. They just don't have to act on it. And then there's the faint heats, which last about a week to 2 weeks. Um, Usually faint heats also can be mistaken for the end or the start of a heat. It's just barely noticeable. The molly might not even realize that they're in heat, and there's really barely any sign that the cat is in heat when that happens. But that's also why it lasts the longest for heat cycles. Um, back back onto this. Um, After a kitten becomes 8 moons, that's when most cats start having their heat. It's around 6 to 7 moons. That's the most time usually. At 8 moons, that's when cats usually can start acknowledging their heats, and they keep growing rapidly. Um, they grow rapidly up to 8 moons, 8 or 9 moons, and then they start to slow down. Sometimes it varies. Sometimes they don't slow down until they're at 12 moons. It varies on the cat. Some cats grow faster than others to their correct full height. Um, One thing that has changed throughout the series is runts. I'm gonna quickly draw Hazel here. I don't know why I'm drawing Hazel like this. Probably should just bring up another drawing. No, I can bring up the last year's anniversary drawing. Give me a second. It's not 8 years in the making. Where is the 9th anniversary drawing? Ah, yes, Preggers Hazel. Well, that's not the full drawing, but Hazel here is a runt. Um, First and second draft, that meant she would be the smallest of the cats. She originally was the smallest cast member. And then third draft, I started thinking about it because technically speaking, her daughter Sapphire was a runt. But Sapphire is the largest of her litter. She's either the second largest or the third largest of Hazel's already pre-planned kittens, with the litter that comes after her. Zinnia is the biggest of Hazel's kittens. I just don't know if Jewel or if Lumi is bigger than Sapphire. With that said, and the fact that I have a character named Tiny who also was a runt, and I like the irony of someone being named Tiny but being large. It's that hilariousness of that. I have decided Hazel's still gonna remain a runt, but it just means she's gonna be the largest of her litter. Um, the only way to get around this is if the cat gets heavily malnourished and sickly throughout their first year of life and they just don't die from it, they're just very much weakened. That would make them be smaller than they should be. And technically speaking, when Hazel has her first 2 litters in the third draft, because she does have them more or less back to back, she's not fully grown. She is not in the slightest fully grown. I need to find that anniversary drawing. It's not Hazel Burgers. Where is it? I know I drew it. Give me a second, I'll find it, I promise. Did I accidentally label as the 8th? Nope, it's not, because that's 2022. Did I throw into Family Trees? No. I'm sorry, guys. This is a bit distracting. That I'm trying to find one drawing. So Hazel Loaf. Oh, I'm staring at the file and I'm like, oh yes, Hazel Loaf is totally not the thing. Looks at 9th anniversary. Um, what the hell did I do here? Oh, I think this was left over from me trying to do something extra. But if I go here, why is this incomplete? What the hell? One sec. I'm gonna grab the actual image off my DeviantArt and drag it into Firebacka. So I don't know why that drawing is messed up. Save as. Did I not do what I wanted to do? How dare. Where's the layer? Don't mind me struggling. There's things I kind of want to go over, but I'm struggling with. Okay, Hazel here. Here's a Hazel with the early concept of her first and second litter. Um, a thing that has changed is I'm making it so her entire first litter has survived, which probably shouldn't have happened, but it's happening. But technically speaking, when she had these two, she should have been around 10 moons old, and then 14 moons old when she had 14 to 15 moons old when she had these three. Our main characters, well, our big main character right here, little baby Sapphire. These two aren't main characters, not in the slightest. Smokey is more important than Heather throughout history of writing the Black Dawn series. I want to redesign Heather again. So whenever I eventually get to her, she's getting redesigned. But technically speaking, originally the plan was these two were the only survivors of her litter, her first litter, her first successful litter to be exact. I changed my mind, all five of them, plus the one she's getting from Star. Star is now gaining a litter where all but one was stillborn, but she didn't want it because trauma. But Hazel's kits, well, the trauma of having them was very much a thing. The fact that the father wasn't around was the one thing that made it tolerable for her raising her kits from her first litter that was successful. When I do mean successful, technically speaking, Hazel had a miscarriage for her first litter, and she didn't even know she was pregnant until after. Because of stuff I'm not going to get into right here, but I'll get into the next video. So with that said, let me get a bit more into the species lore real quick. I'm going to keep it on this Hazel image. No, actually I'm going to draw. I want to draw. So, if you look at the thumbnail sketch, I have two types of cats. I used to have short hairs. If you guys saw the first video and saw the image of River and Kirta cuddling, that's a very old image. By old, I mean I did that, I think, in 2018 or 2019. And things have changed, like River's design. But I used to have short hair characters until the second draft. Somewhere early in the second draft development, I decided, fuck it. I have like 5 to 7 characters in total of the 300. The 300 plus. Most of them are characters that are just there for the family tree, granted. That are short haired. I got rid of short haired. I made several characters fluffy. An example of a cat who was short-haired and became fluffy is Stone. If I actually, I'll show off Stone's reference sheet right here. That won't take a minute. It's like the first one I have listed. Let me just turn off Quill. He was originally a short-haired. Also, originally he was just gray, and he had blue eyes. The green eyes is a thing that I decided for the third draft because let me bring up his family tree. I want to bring up everything apparently. I'm bringing up stuff that probably could wait till the next video and probably get re-brought up during the next video. But that's fine. I'm fine to ramble. Let me bring up... which one's the newest? Claire's. I never finished up making these family trees. And they're not up to date with the current draft, but that's fine. As you see, Stone here had blue eyes. He now has green eyes. But a reason for that change was Kirita here, as you see. Not Kirita. Why did I say Kirita? This is Flora. Kirita's not even in this family tree at all. Flora here has purple and orange eyes. Her mother has purple eyes. If I go up the family tree, her unnamed aunt had blue eyes and Reed had one blue eye. I have changed the plan for that. I decided, F it, no blue eyes. Because it doesn't make sense fully. And then Claire's family is heavy on the green eyes with a little bit of orange, which you can see. So blue eyes make sense for Sapphire because her father has blue eyes. It's like how when I changed Thistle's family tree, because let me bring up Luna's. I don't think that one's completed in the slightest, but I have at least one version of it that's semi-complete that can show this. Folder, family trees. This one's not complete, I'll swap to the other one. Oh, this one's terrible, it's not even complete, I'm sorry. Let me close this. I know, this is a bit all over the place. Yes, I was like, yes, I'm gonna draw. And then I don't. But as you see here, here's the old family tree. The old family tree. How up to date are these drawings? I don't know. What this does not show here, because this is more, these actually designs were up to date for early second draft before I started changing designs. Actually, that's a lie. Some of these cats are up to date for changing designs. I think Jewel's not, and that's mostly Jewel. But that's beside the point. Fun fact, most of these family trees connect. But I'm gonna say the generations are far apart, it's fine. But as you see, Misty here is blue. Fun fact, Micah here and Thistle originally had ginger. But I was like, F that, that makes no sense that for a blue cat and a gray cat to have ginger, especially since we don't see where the ginger's coming from. So I decided, okay, I'm changing it so it's blue. And that meant I potentially had to change design colors for cats. Like, these two, I think I had to change their designs slightly. I probably should change it again because it looks weird. But Micah used to be Ginger, I think. That or she had no design. I don't remember which. But Heather was saved from being turned to blue because Hazel has cream. And technically speaking, Heather is cream. Somehow this led to Mia, right over here, turning blue when she originally was gray. Markings otherwise more or less stayed the same. Because fun fact, she was originally just like, oh, what if I made stone look more like this? And then she became Hazel's daughter. So, as dress went on, I did try to get stuff to look more similar. And some family tree shit, I'm just like adding on as time goes on. The only two reasons these two have a name, even though they originally did not appear and were just mentioned in the second draft, which that part won't be out for a good while. I like their designs too much. But if I go back to the Claire family tree here, a change you can clearly see that doesn't exist right now is no tuft ears. That was a design change that happened later. And yes, Sven is getting a design change, as you saw. Basically, a bunch of characters I've decided to make fluffy because I'm adding to the lore. But I don't even know what point I was on originally. I'm sorry. But originally, Hazel was Runt. She's now not a Runt. She's bigger than her brothers. Granted, Hawk might be bigger in bulk and fluff. Stone, I just always imagine is lean, maybe some bulk on him. But now he's fluffy, but I still imagine him as somewhat lean. As you see, I have heterochromia here. I don't shy away from heterochromia, as you see. I'm gonna quickly go over possession because I have Duke's reference sheet up. Duke is the soul thief. As you see, his eyes didn't originally show heterochromia because it's of how his colors worked out, and then he had heterochromia. And then his eyes started to change when he started to misuse his ability into something it shouldn't be. He tainted his ability. But Duke here caused the whole thing. Do I have Shattered Duke in here? No, that's in a different file. I'm opening up all the files. It's fine. Okay, if I go... Not that one. This one. Yes, I used a template to make a concept for a dog. You are not what I'm after. No. I'm trying to bring up one thing, and I'm just like, where is it? It's not here. Where's my concept kits file? Ah, here we are. Hypo kits. Yes, I did go here to make concept designs for kittens. It's fine. Fun fact, originally it was for Shadow Knight, mostly. 100% it was mostly for Shadow Knight. Quick random fun fact about Walter here. He was designed by my sister. I'm just using him from a drawing. She knows. I've told her many a time. I don't think she cares. No. Clicking on everything that's not accurate. Here you see where I got, Petal and Burr. I need to do her other kits from the same father. Especially now that I have a rough idea what he looks like. You want to see the mess that Hawk has? These are all the kits from the Molly that dies. This is his daughters. And his sons. But that's not what I was after. Oh, oh yeah. One character was causing me issues. I was trying to figure out what the frick I wanted to design to remade it because I didn't like the original design. Make it this. Don't mind me, I'm just poking to see some of the designs I made. I love Shatter Knight's babies. This isn't even Shatter... Wait, yes, this is Shatter Knight's babies right here. Wait, no, they're not. These are rogues. Wait, this should be a Shatter Knight baby. Yeah, these are Shatter Knight babies. What am I talking about? I was thinking of the other two. These are friends kits. Random rogue caused these two to exist, and then these kits are Shatter Knights. Fun fact, Shatter Knight design might be being tweaked to do this just on his flank. And here's the reference sheet I was after this entire time. Possession. Here you see what Shatter Knight looks like on his own, and then Duke. Kinda, because I don't have his full reference sheet up because I don't need the full reference sheet. And then I made sure to have his eye because I needed it for possession. Here is the lowest level of possession that you can see with Duke, ignoring the fact it should be just blue outline. So a slight blue outline is slightly possessed. This is more heavily possessed. He's losing control of his body. Right here is from the image. Do not cross the line. And he crosses the line. This takes place in the epilogue of Burning Horizon from the second draft. This is from one of the series covers. I keep redoing them, so hence why I've not really shown them on the channel. You can find them on my DeviantArt. But here is him being full on fighting his possession. Duke's right there, trying to take over. He's in a shadow form to fight it. He's still fighting it in this drawing, but he's failing. That's why he has tears. He's fighting for control, and here he is on the verge of losing control completely. And as you see, I did make concepts for if he's resisting it or if he's not resisting it. When I mean not resisting it, I mean he doesn't have enough control over himself to fight back. A fun fact, he is being turned fluffy. So how the position will look when in this form, the fur is bolting off. That's how I imagine it. I 100% made this drawing 100% not for reference of Shattered Knight being possessed. No, I made this for a commission by Tangle Talon. Go check them out. I will try to remember this time to link them in the description of the video for their YouTube, which I don't think they use that much, in their DeviantArt. But possession is 100% a thing, and the original pieces of possession actually that are well known that I have candidly thought of so far are all from Duke. Duke here would, after stealing the lives of others and starting getting killed, actually, would, when he got killed, would reincarnate through one of his kids. He would possess a newborn and take over its soul because they want to be strong enough to fight him off. And this resulted in many, many times where he would just revive and repeat the same process over and over and over again until we got to Goliath. Goliath, who I don't have a design for right now. Actually, his name's not even Goliath anymore. Why do I keep calling it Goliath? It's Behemoth. Behemoth. Um, the largest quote unquote character to exist. We don't know for certain if he actually was the largest character to exist. As far as I know, it could be his descendant bear. Got in a fight with Duke. Duke cursed him to be blind, and in response, Behemoth cursed Duke's bloodline to die. Cursed infertility on him and for all his kids to die. All his kin to die. So Duke can no longer revive through his kin, which is actually the easiest way to revive. At some point I probably should go over Shattered Knight's revival system, because yes, he is in a revival system, and why he's not as much struggling to revive compared to Duke. But Duke's also trying to possess him, particularly because he's lost stronger soul, so that's probably its own thing. But, the easiest ways to spot possession early on is by looking at someone's eyes. For whatever reason, most characters don't pay attention enough, and it doesn't fully click to them when someone's eye is changing color. No, they're more likely to notice the changing of pelt colors, which is why when cats have vitiligo, or how you pronounce it, basically, in humans it just means pigment loss. But for cats, the pigment change is the fur is just turning white; it's losing its color. So cats with that give the false sign of possession. So I am probably going to put in the lore somewhere that there are cats who have been killed for just being naturally having that. And though I do have two characters who have it and are 100% alive, one is one of Duke's daughters. Actually, I'm going to bring up the image of Duke's daughters. Proceeds to open up the files again. I'm sorry. It's just like one of the easier ways to do this. Not you. This one. Void here does not have it. Starless, who's gonna be renamed Nebula, does. The only other character to have it is, let me bring up reference sheets again. Let me also close some of these tabs. Don't need this tab up. I don't need this one up. I'm gonna close this one. Don't mind me. Just closing some tabs. If I go to reference sheets, female cluster. Also, if you look at the top of the titles for how I name them, some of the reference sheets are for the second draft were named this long-haired female cluster. That's another sign of, yeah, I got rid of the short hair cluster, wasn't enough for them. Okay, if I turn off, there's characters whose names I never got to their reference sheet. That's fine. Which one are you? Your flower. Turn off flower. Looking for star. Should be earlier on. This was when I was figuring out Sapphire's issues. And I put alternate on reference sheet thing if I was swapping it to alternate. Or if they're exported. This fun fact, Firefucker, before I got the paid version, was having issues with files corrupting, as you kinda saw. Where I have layers and stuff is missing even though I've completed it. Here we go. Star. Star here. Originally, don't mind that the reference sheet is duplicated. Originally, which is a plain white cat with amber eyes. I changed my mind to make things a little bit more interesting, and she had vitiligo, but she had extensive white overlay, so she was already mostly white when she was born. And as you see, as she got older, more and more white took over what little ginger she had, and by the time she was a youngster, all she had left was her tail tip. And then by the time she's in adulthood, she's all white. So, unlike Void, not Void, unlike Nebula, formerly Starless, she became an all white cat real quick. Meanwhile, Nebula's gonna slowly have to get multiple reference sheets to be like, oh, look, here's a change in when more white has come in. So that's something. Something that might exist in the lore is cats actually have died for it because it looks like a false sign of possession. Because I already have in the canon lore. I haven't written it out yet, but at one point in time, they had a healer from another group come over and be like, "Hey, is she being possessed?" And they're like, "No, this is just natural fur color loss. She's not being possessed." Because of whole thing with Duke possessing cats. Um, in the second draft, in book 3, we get to actually see Shadow Knight going from this to rapidly to this, and then this. Because of what happens with him being possessed and shit. He does eventually break free of the possession. I do actually get to write that. That was actually fun. Also, it killed my motivation to write Duke, which ruined me writing his breaking free. Um, third draft, how he breaks free is gonna be different, and the trigger is gonna be different because I'm changing some things up. But him being possessed like this still gets to be a momentary thing, just less cats to witness it. But possession is a legitimate thing. One quick fact, for kittens, kittens are born blind and partially deaf. They can faintly hear things going on around them as a baby. Their hearing gets better faster than their eyesight, but their understanding of the world is slow, as I said, because up to first moon, their 100% baby can only babble, aka mew, maybe hiss. Second moon, they can start simple sentences and words, but they mostly go in between speaking like one word and mewing. Third moon, they can start to do simple sentences. Fourth moon, they actually can speak in sentences, but if they understand what they're actually saying is hard to say sometimes. It's when their brain is developing the most for vocalization. It's really good for them to be socialized, which probably means that kittens in single litters or not socialized with other kittens, if there's other kittens around, might mentally grow a bit slower than others. It might. Okay, what's some other stuff about the world, real quick? There are ley lines, aka lines of power. That's something I will get into at later, I think. I don't fully understand how to explain that. But one thing that is something that exists in the Black Dawn series is color blindness, and it's full color blindness, except they can see eye color. Um, I think how I'm gonna have it is, they could always see eye color after the meteor, but the eye color is muted. They began to see things like this, after the whole thing with Dukes. Colorblindness mutated to be more of a defense mechanism against those who would possess somebody. So it would be easier to spot if someone's been possessed. Also, a side effect of that is them being able to see spirits. There is one spirit they cannot see, and that is Duke's brother Shiro. I will get into that in the actual book to some degree. What else? I still don't know how long these cats live. I'm probably just gonna put it at 20-ish or to 30-ish years. I know I'm just gonna put it at 30-ish, even though that does mean they breed most of the time yearly or multiple times a year. Because here's the other factor. While their technical lifespan could mean they can live up to 30 or 30 plus years, the issue of the hand is most of the characters are not living that long. No. Most characters are lucky if they live a decade because of constant fighting, sickness. Childbirth is always a risk. So, even though technically speaking, if everything went perfect, they could live 30 plus years, most characters do not live that long. Depending on what era they live in, it's even harsher. If they live during one of the times when Duke was ruling, the lifespan is definitely shorter if you're not literally kissing his paws and like, yes, I totally would do anything for you kind of thing. And pray that he doesn't just kill you to steal your life force. The times of early the groups of power forming and before that, between that and Duke, that was very harsh. Um, at least in the area where the Black Dawn series takes place, it was very harsh because the dogs, as things were kind of mentioned briefly, I do have dogs in the series. Dogs have the ability to see who's related to who for bloodlines, and they can, if they concentrate hard enough, they can tell whose ancestors who by even picture their ancestor. But in the Rhazie crater, where the Black Dawn series takes place, the cats, because of Duke's, the after effect of Duke killing Izzy, like cats to forget they have power. The dogs came in like, oh yes, we have a spot we can free reign and take over for just ourselves. We just need to get rid of the cats. And that caused it to be a constant bloodbath between the dogs, the cats, the foxes, just fighting each other until the groups of powers were formed. Technically speaking, Reed did form a group in the Grand Flower Mouth before any of this happened, right after cats forgot they had power, but that group was not officialized until sometime after the groups of power had formed, had it been officially acknowledged as a group, because they didn't even realize they were a group. Which makes them the oddball, and that's part of the reason why I have no problem destroying the group, as you will be seeing in the prequel part. And if you read the first draft and second draft, it's already been destroyed. But yeah, the life certainly does not match what their natural lifespan would be if they could live to their natural lifespan because of different shit like the dogs trying to slaughter them. Granted, that's no longer a current issue. It will become an issue eventually, but it's not a current issue. Um, the cats fighting each other is a definite huge issue. Sickness is an issue depending on the healers, the cats who know how to heal. Fun fact: healing is a guardian ability, And how I like to think of how this healing cat's learning how to heal came about was learning through the guardian healers who naturally just have the ability. So those who had interest in it but didn't have the ability to do it couldn't learn how to do it. And some families learned how to keep that, and eventually, as you'll see when I get to write the founding bits, because I do get to write the founding bits, it does reveal to be a problem when not everyone has the same information, and cats are thinking, ah, yes, this won't be a problem for us. This totally will not be a problem for us. Why do we need to worry about learning how to do X, Y, Z? Send away that other healer. We don't need to learn that. Our healer knows everything they need to, and then when they do need the information, that healer is dead, and their information died with them. So that's a whole thing. This is gonna be the most chaotic video, and it's about an hour long. Oh no, I'm sorry. I can imagine how the third draft video is gonna go for the anniversary video. Oh my god, it's gonna be so long. But that's how healing cats learning how to heal. What about there are some cats who are pretty much only in the groups of power because that's the main spot where you can get a high-end life expectancy in the Rhazie crater, unless you have some weird ability, or Duke's ability for that matter, which is not what's happening because Duke's can't use his ability. He can just possess Shatter Knight currently. Granted, he's gonna eventually break free from Shatter Knight and be like, I'm gonna find someone more easy to break and possess and take over. He eventually will be like that. But, yeah. So life expectancy does not match. Quick thing that has changed. If I go to not here. These are all toms. I don't show it during this. Fuck. I need to go to third draft refs. As you see, let's look at the cats real quick. I know I did a simplified drawing of this to make it more obvious. But here's a fluffy tom. As you see, he has the ear tufts. His chin is sharp, triangular. Leg fluff for the front legs is pretty much always the same. Granted. But for toms, see this fuzz right here that goes all the way down? Mollies do not have it go all the way down. Also, his tail is what you would imagine a normal cat tail to be lengthed. Now, if I swap to his mother, I'm literally going to start with his mother first. And then I'll go to his sister. If I go to his mother, as you see, immediately you can see tail length is longer. And I guess thicker. Because that just happened to be how I drew it. And you see this fuzz right here that was on stone is not there. Also, chin does not have fuzz coming down. It's actually round. Also eyelashes because it makes it easier to tell female. But I did slowly add a few gender differences besides just the eyelashes. The chin is round on females, triangular on toms. Tails are longer on mollies. That's actually something that's been a thing since second draft. Third draft is where I started adding the leg thing. Now if I go to Hazel, as you see, the big difference is it's less fluffy. The tough fur tufts still exist on the normal length standard furred cats. Their legs don't do that. The legs are still that way. Females still have rounded chins and a long tail. And then if I swap to her father, because her other brother does not work, the leg is more fluffy. It's not as fluffy as the fluffy the fluffy palette, technically speaking, is what I refer to it, because this is now the standard. The back legs are a bit more rugged, still the short tail, doesn't have the leg tufts, but his chin is triangular and no eyelashes. So I did add in some gender differences in this draft. I was considering adding a few more if I could figure out how to do it, but in the end, that was basically what I got. Also, if I swear, if someone comments on this, let me actually go to a lighter cat. Eh, Claire's probably the lightest. This is not their stomach. No. This is the primary pouch that isn't meant to be like that. I just try to make it obvious. Also, if you're wondering why I draw the belly so extended on females, it's just to, hint that, hey, this is what they could look like round wise for if they were pregnant. That's the only reason why the mollies are actually have a rounded belly, or at least deep rounded belly, because as you see, as I try to hint right here, it would go around right here for the mollies. And yes, I am calling the females mollies. It's not the most well-known term for female cats, but it's better than the warrior's term for she-cat, which is how they say they're females. And I can't use queen because, one, I'm agreeing with them on the... Let's use this for pregnant and nursing cats. They should be referred to as queens, in my view, because the queen term tends to be used for that in many cases. Usually, a female cat will not have the term queen until they've had kittens. So, yes. Female cats will be referred to as mollies. Always. Queens are those who are nursing or pregnant. Toms are toms, aka males. Kittens will occasionally be referred to as kit. And they're up. That's newborns through 4 months olds, 4 month olds through 18-month-olds, or youngsters. And granted, technically speaking, adults can still be referred to as a youngster up to the age of 2, unless the group wants to refer a group of cats as youngsters if there's a significant age gap of, I don't know, at least a year between them, and there's a huge split. That's one way I could try to word it. As you see, kittens have blue eyes. The colorblind view, this will shows how it works. It's terrible in cats who don't show that. Like, it's terrible on Stone, who only has a pink nose to hint at the colorblind view. In some cats, you can't even see it. Also, how I do heterochromia for kittens, if it's partial or central, as you see, I make it so there's just a thin line in between the color. So that way I'm not dividing into more colors. The only reason I would go into more colors is if the kitten is blind. But yeah. If you guys have any more questions, because I'm a bit scatterbrained and a bit all over the place, please do ask. Do feel free to check out my DeviantArt account. I'll have it linked below. And I guess the Wattpad if you want the written versions. Even though Wattpad's a bit behind on some stuff. Because I'm trying to keep stuff on a weekly basis to keep a writing flow going while I write other stuff and work on stuff in the background. One thing I'm going to rediscover at some point is actually the kittens that are stillborn, because I kind of need them for not the family trees, but I do need them for the comic. Some characters, as you'll see, I'm like, yes, I'll show this exactly the same. And then there's some characters where I'm just like, I actually don't need the kitten view because they don't show up as a kitten. I won't be showing the kitten in the comic for them. And technically speaking, cats like Shiro, I don't need that, I don't think. Because I don't think I'm going to show him at all with colorblind view. Not that you can see the freaking difference. There is no difference. At least for him. But yeah, I will be showing. I'm gonna be working on more reference sheets. Random fun fact is, I actually looked up the actual color for silver and started actually putting it in for cats who actually were labeled silver. No, I'm gonna show you guys a few characters that I'm a good way off from getting to, but I want to show. Here's Silver. I need to actually design her parents still, but here she is, Silver. I'm only with Silver fur in gray and white. This right here is the Silver. Fun fact, I was actually was a few shades lighter or darker than the actual Silver for my guesstimate. Her brother and sister are actually a bit more based on steel. I forget which steel this is, but I know for a fact this is the stainless steel. And then her sister has the steels and silver. But those were some designs I was working on before I went back on the template and went to fix stuff. And if I go, I think it's this one. Yes, this is this one. This boy right here is Ren's father. I actually posted a preview of him on my DeviantArt with just headshot. It's gonna be a hot minute before I get there because I'm all the way down here. I think I just need to export this dude. But the next video in this series will 100% be me going over the series. I won't be doing what I'm doing here, where I originally planned to do some doodles as I went along, instead of jumping around my tabs of FirePack. Technically speaking, this is FirePack SE, but that's beside the point. Next video will be the Black Dawn anniversary. Expect it to be longer. Well, the next video won't be the Black Dawn anniversary. That one will be coming on the 18th. But the next one in this series will be that day. But if you liked the video, comment, subscribe, like it if you wish. If you want to see more of the Black Dawn series, I keep calling that because it's been 10 years basically at this point. I'm literally a week away from July when recording this. It's now Tales of Rhazie, and I need to get used to calling it that. So that'll be a whole thing for me to get used to. Originally, the comic was going to be called Black Dawn Extended, but things change, plans change. But the next video will be that, and it'll be a pretty long video probably, because I want to go over a lot of the changes, as well as some story points. But I have art on DeviantArt. I don't plan to stop posting there for the art-wise. It's just gonna be slow. Wattpad will have all the writing bits, and that is only slow because I have that on a schedule, and I actually need to get back into writing to make sure that schedule does not die, and I need to reschedule some stuff. And as far as I can tell, unlike DeviantArt, which I can only do up to 100 deviantations, Wattpad, the only limit I can see is about a month over a year. Which is excuse me. which is great. Next video, I don't know what next video after this will be. This will be coming out on what day? The 13th. So the next video will be, let me see, Raft episode 6 will be the next video, technically speaking, to come up on the channel. But the next video in the series will be 10th anniversary. Where do we go from here? See you guys next time. Bye.